Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trace Network Labs Spaces. This is our 13th episode, which is called Transforming Events Access with NFTs. We have a host of great speakers lined up for you. So, without much further ado, we'll just begin in a minute. All our speakers are joining. This is going to be very exciting. My name is Poshak and I do marketing for Trace Network Labs, so it'll be really amazing for all of you to be here and listen to what's happening. Really excited. Let's go. I think we already have all of our speakers now. One of the speakers will be a little late. He's stuck in Bangalore traffic. But let's start. Let's start with Tushar. Tushar, how are you? What's going on? Just give a quick 1 minute introduction of uh, what have you thought about NFTs? What do you think about it? And what are you currently doing?
Yeah, so hey everyone, it's Tushar this side, aka the interesting guy. I help creators, founders, and every single person to start their podcast and content creation and streamline it with ease. If I talk about NFTs and all, it have been pretty interesting because I had started to read about NFTs 2 years back, and recently, like last month only, I attended an NFT ticketed event. So I'm going to share a lot of things about that also. So I think so that would be my introduction.
Awesome. That's a great introduction, Tushar. Great way to start. Next, we have Aditi. Hi, Aditi. Same. Give a quick 30-second, 1 minute introduction of your journey in Web3 and NFTs.
Hey everyone. First of all, like great to be in this space, and yeah, so I've been into Web3 for a good like 8 to 9 months. Amazing journey, and basically I'm a social media marketer and a community builder in the Web3 space, and somehow struggling up the ladders made my way to CoinsHQ, but that was amazing. And regarding NFTs and Metaverse, like these two are the pillars that personally interest me the most in the Web3 domain. Like you have these amazing use cases of NFTs and even metaverses. Like, it's like this different virtual and physical reality world where you can do multiple things at a time. Like you could, be have a beachside conversation with your colleagues, at the same time taking meeting notes while floating and all of that. And regarding NFTs, they are like that is not just a collectible art. That this is just the start, and the use cases and the potential are endless. Like hoping to having all of this discussion in the space, and really looking forward to it.
Amazing. Thank you for that introduction, Aditi. Really looking forward to the discussion as well. And next, we have Paarug with us. Hi, Paarug. Give your 1 minute introduction of yourself and how did you get into Web3, NFTs, all of it.
Yeah, sure. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Paarug. Go
Awesome.
ahead.
Awesome. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. Uh, I think I've been in the Web3 space for like a year now. I started as like a community intern at TimeSwap Labs, which is a decentralized money market protocol on Ethereum. Uh, then I think I was there for about a year, and then now I'm working at Wordcel and leading the content content marketing community. Uh, and meanwhile, I've also been a part of the Super Team DAO, which is probably the best community in Web3, arguably in India. Uh, but yeah, along the way, NFTs have obviously been uh, on my mind throughout my journey. I joined Web3 during the peak of the Beeple sale, where NFTs were booming and the prices of CryptoPunks and BAYC were rising. But now it's been like great to see uh, to go from there to now where people are actually thinking of use cases and utilities with NFTs. So yeah, it's been a great journey. Happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. I think all of us joined at the peak. Like that's how it's designed to be. As soon as we all saw that some Indian bought a $69 million painting, we were like, we all should be in it, and that was the peak. So that's amazing to know the stories that all of you have shared. Tushar, Parug, Aditi. We also have one other speaker who was waiting. We will wait for. I think he'll be 5-10 minutes late since he's stuck in the Bangalore traffic. But once he arrives, he will give his introduction as well. Before that, now let's just start. I think all the speakers shared their experiences with NFT. So let's just start with that. Tushar, you were talking about the fact that you attended an NFT event. So just to start with, Could you describe how it was, what it was like? I think that would be a good point to start.
Sure, sure. So, the interesting part was that it was an NFT ticketed event. So, like, all the NFT holders don't got ticket or don't got an invitation in their email or something. They got an NFT which was an ticket. We had to redeem it, and the moment we redeem, we get a specific QR code which we have to show at the event to get the entry on the first place. And this whole process in itself, first of all, was pretty interesting. And 2 or 3 months before the event was, we all got to know about this thing in community, and every single person was so excited. We were doing weekly G meets, the community members discussing what possibilities can be there, what are the plans we are going to do in event and whatnot. And it was like a whole day event. It started around afternoon 2:30, and it went till 10:30, 11 in midnight. So it was like a whole day event also. The experience was pretty interesting because I got to meet a good amount of people who were interested in NFTs at the same time. The panel. So what I did, I arrived at the venue 6 hours before. So if the event is at 2:30, I was there around 8, 9, 10 a.m. in the morning, and a lot of panelists who were already there at the hotel were coming to check out the venue. And because I was already there, I got a chance to discuss one on one with all the amazing panelists who have been into NFTs and Web3 for couple of years, like 3, 5, 7 years. And we were discussing how NFTs are getting used these days and what can be the future of it. So yes, it was pretty interesting.
Wow, that's a great thing, Tushar, and I am sure you would have learned a lot about the journey and also the whole experience of buying an NFT ticket. And I think with each successive month, it's becoming more and more common for people to have NFT tickets and stuff. And there's definitely a lot that we can do with those NFTs then. And I think we'll discuss that in this event. Let's go with Parug next, maybe for this. Parug, since you got into NFTs a year ago and you've been following the trend and following everything that's happening at Super Team and everywhere else, where do you see the innovation going in terms of NFTs and events? Do you see some exciting things happening?
Yeah, definitely. So with NFTs and events, it's kind of like a direct use case is the access part. So I think MetaPass is like a super team project at this point. So they solve for NFT tickets, and then NFTs can both be used. I've seen them use as obviously to give access. Basically, if you have an NFT, you can come to this event or you can attend this Zoom call. But they can also be used for like premium features, maybe you know like BAYC holders only can come to this event. I think we saw BAYC Cafe as well in US somewhere, and the holders only can enter, or something like that. So it's pretty interesting what's happening there. NFTs also allow avatars, so you people like 6529 who's known to be like a crypto punk, nobody knows who he is. He can go into events as his own NFT, and that's his digital identity. So yeah, NFTs solve that. And of course we have seen POAPs on Ethereum, which has been like very very successful, which is like proof of attendance. So you can give away uh, a proof of attendance that you were there at this event, and it's kind of like a good social move. So yeah, there's so much that has been happening. It's very exciting.
Right, absolutely. And I think you gave a good summary of all the innovations that's driving. And stick around for everybody who's listening. We're going to discuss all of that. This is going to get very interesting. Tushar, you wanted to add to something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to this thing. I remember I had this one friend. He went to some NFT event in Bangalore, and he was not stuck in traffic. Luckily, in that event, like there were some games, and the winners were getting, like gifts and merchandise in NFT. So, like they were asking, "What's your address?" and they were dropping an merchandise in the wallet, and it would be delivered to them in the next 30 days. So that was also pretty interesting, which I had heard from one of my friends.
Right, yeah, super interesting. And there's a lot of use case like this that are coming up. So now we have our speaker CEO Saab as well. Would love a 1 minute introduction of how did you get into it, what's Web3 Bharat and everything, and what is your just a short opinion about NFTs and events. Go ahead.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for inviting. So, how I started is very simple, man. So, after a lot of hype is going and exploring this space from the past 2 or 3 years as an like outsider, then in 2021 October, and I decided to do something in Web3 when I started finding people around me to build the community. I found no one. Me and my brother were there, so that's how we started for at a Web3 Bharat, right? To build the communities in smaller towns like Jodhpur and Jaipur, and to build this ecosystem across India. So that's what we started. Now we are a community plus venture studio. We help and empower, educate, and network an opportunity to Indian talent. I help them with getting resources like our jobs and funding for their ideas. So yeah, so my take on the NFTs and events is very simple, man. That uh, this is going to be more utilities based, right? So if you guys heard about the Kings of Lion launched a music album, and they dropped a few NFTs, right? So the NFT holders is getting the front row seats on their conferences, their shows, wherever they are going, right, for 1 year actually. And also they are getting exclusive perks like merchandising, album price, and all that. And also that the innovation I heard from like Paarug and all that. So the innovation that I heard and I saw recently is that the memories of NFTs, right? Whenever we go to any conference, any shows, we all capture the moments, right? All want to come in the front rows and capture videos and all that to just to flaunt in our network on our friends group, right? Say that I was there, it just 4 meters away from the singer and all that. That moment, the capture, the video, and the whatever that is going to be as an NFT, and now there is going to be sell in secondary market, and this is going to become a next flaunt and flex experience.
Great, amazing. I think some really valuable, interesting idea over there as moments being captured and then that becoming an NFT in itself. Amazing. I can totally see that happening. NFTs are kind of becoming a form of communication. I've seen a lot of people talk about that as well. And who better than Aditi since she has been doing social media for a long time. So, Aditi, what's your opinion on NFTs and events? And you were talking about certain things, so you can elaborate on that.
Yep, yep, yep. Just like my fellow speakers mentioned, like the use cases bringing exclusivity, scarcity, and authenticity into the picture. Thanks to the process of creating an NFT, it's just like you are sharing a normal ticket to an event, right? When you transform that into an NFT ticketed event, it it cuts down the third parties who can be selling those events for selling fake events for fake tickets for that event, and it can reduce the less authentic copies of of that ticket being floated in the market. And also adding to the list that Sunil mentioned, that the Kings of Leon, they were selling basically NFTs to have a that was a lifetime offer to get front row seats at their tours. So that is the concept that is bringing exclusivity into the market. Also, like I am a big Gary fan, so like the V Friends NFTs. So whoever is holding that particular NFT, they will be getting an exclusive ticket to the VCon conference for 3 years. So these are the utilities that people are trying to bring in along with NFTs. Also, Mark Cuban announced that he wants to bring NFT ticketing to NBA. So all of these movements of how companies and brands are affiliating with NFTs, that is just booming a lot faster than we expected, basically. So yeah, that's on that's on touching the utility part of NFTs. And as we are talking, it's such an early phase, and still we have explored so many utilities of it. We never know like what are the rest cases that a couple of next years have to bring in along with NFTs. So that's on it.
Absolutely right. It's very early, but I think that's where the opportunity also lies and why we're all excited about it. And I'd love to know from all of you, whoever wants to go for this, what do you think is the key to like creating NFTs, but for your community? So maybe then they could like use it. You could use it for events. You could use it for a metaverse event. At Trace, we are very passionate about metaverses as well. So it could be an event in the metaverse, in real life, wherever you want, digital. But what is the kind of key do you think that is to creating NFTs? If you've attended an event, you could talk about how certain kind of an NFT made it possible for people to attend that event. So, what's the kind of opinion you have? Maybe Paruk could go ahead with this.
Yeah, sure. So I think if you want to have mass adoption for like NFTs as tickets to events, right? I think a very good way to think about it is to solve like the user experience layer before thinking about like what would the NFT look like. I'm talking from like a creator, like a builder perspective of how you can make uh, this possible with like NFTs, right? So a good thing to a good way to think about this is to have good UX, right? That is what's broken right now. If you want mass adoption, you at least want like a similar amount of friction that we have with like normal tickets today, if not less. Technology is supposed to make things easier, not harder for like a normie audience. But yeah, so if you have like a movie screening, or if you have a concert, you want NFTs to be bought as tickets. And then there's so many solutions, there's so many things you can do with that, right? You can have revenue splits uh, for the creator, for the concert, for the stage, the one who makes the stage, for the lighting guys. You can have that coded in the program. But the key part here is to think about the UX, right? So I think that is what will unlock the next application of NFTs to be used in as like a ticketing and like community events perspective.
Right, and I can see that you've engaged other speakers really well, Paruk, with that saying UX and fragmented UX. And I think that's the whole challenge of Web3 as well. Like the UX right now is a little bit more fragmented. So I think, Tushar, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, because I don't have that big of a point, but with personal experience, that UX part is pretty much one of the bigger reason. Because I remember when this NFT ticketed event, which I was talking about, which happened like a couple of months back, when it was announced and when all that explanation went out, even after explanation or those videos, people were confused. I would say, one of the major focus when you are creating a utility of any kind of NFT for your community, the communication part should have a very high quality or focus, because if your community don't know what are the utilities or how to use them, or how to take advantage or benefit of them, it would be a big problem. And so, like for example, if I'm a community member, I hold NFTs, but I have no idea that my NFT can do these things. It is going to be a waste till a very good extent. So I personally think, like whenever we talk about creating an NFT for community, communication after building it should be the main focus, or how easily can you explain to your community members the utilities or use case or the NFT in itself. Because there's this NFT project, I believe, Xeonverse. uh, like what I personally believe, communication of their NFT project till a very good extent is pretty great, because I am a part of the Discord server, and when I see the community members discussing about NFTs and their utilities, almost every single person have a very clear idea that what is the future with these NFTs, how does the roadmap look like, and what are the possibilities. So yeah, like this was one point I had.
Great. I think CEO Saab would like to add to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree on Paruk part that the UX part is UX part is sucking in this event and NFTs game, right? So, but the major part, then what I believe is that we need to be bring mass adoption in NFTs in through our events is we need a hardware tools actually, right? So it doesn't matter that the event event tickets that we are selling is form of the physical paper or maybe the digital ticket or maybe as an NFT. It doesn't matter to the audience. What matter is that the how should be a verification, right? Like, so in physical paper we can show that this is the pass that I have. In virtual ticket that we have is the QR code through the QR scanner. But in NFT, how the event organizer is verifying that? There's a major problem that this event industry is seeing, right? So we need some kind of hardware tool to verify that, right? To like to the event organizer, yeah, that's the person is actually holding that NFT. And apart from that, the values like the utility value is getting is from like, for example, like if the 1983 the couple the women the India won World Cup, right? The momentum that I'm getting is going to be more valuable for them, right? The use cases for that, ki, yeah, I was there and that's the happened there, right? And I captured part that and I got that value, right? For example, right now, like the Indian matches, right? We the whatever the pads and tools that the equipment they used in that match now they is getting sold as an auction, right? In auctions, right? So that's the part, and for that we need to bring like those things. We need hardware tools to verify those NFTs and all that. That's my take on that part, to bring mainstream adoption in events ticketing.
Right. So I think we've got both a short term solution and a long term solution to it, Parug. In the short term, Tushar is saying that these communities who are having these NFT events should have to create a better communication ability to explain to their followers so that even if the UX is a little bit more fragmented, confusing, they can go through it. And in the long term, to be able to give access to NFT tickets, whether it's a real life, I think a real life event would need a hardware tool. Maybe in the digital world it'll be a lot more easier if you're doing an event in the digital world, but as CEO Saab elaborated, you could have some kind of a hardware tool to verify that NFT. Would that be a right summary of what both of you said?
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
Especially with communication, like don't say connect your wallet and mint your non-fungible token. Just say sign up with your sign up with MetaMask and get your tickets.
Having said that, our buddy avatar is live and all you have to do is connect your wallet and mint your avatar. So with that, let's go ahead to Aditi. Aditi, you want to add something?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, like the what my fellow speakers mentioned, the tech side, the UI UX side, that is like amazing. A new take of what I the of the for the thoughts that I had in mind regarding the NFT ticketing. Like what I believe is the value created for customers would be twofold, like getting to attend the live entertainment experience itself and an exclusive and personal digital asset. Like, gone are those days when the autograph albums and the t-shirt tables that we used to get. Now we'll have to, and we are actually in the realm of imagining the concerts with where, we can have a personal favorite song or a signature from the artist in the form of a unique digital asset. And, even the NFT ticketing goes beyond this. The future of NFTs and ticketing has to offer opportunities for lifetime value, exclusive access, and extra incentives for buyers, basically. And that is how the whole exclusivity concept is coming into the picture. And the innovative applications that I like we discussed before in the event, like the Mark Cuban's announcement, Gary V, Kings of Leons, and even the DC Comics are giving out comic books as NFTs along with tickets to their DC fandom. So it is a way of inherently building a community that stays with you in the long run. Like Parug mentioned about POAPs, so that is just another way of incentivizing your community to attend an event. And what a POAP does is it gives you an NFT that will remain with you. So that incentivizes you to not just be an affiliate or an advocate, but much more than that for the community, much more than that, and that is how you start to build along with it. So it all reels back to building an authentic community around it. That's my take on it.
Absolutely. I think I also tweeted. By the way, if you see another Poshak Dua, that's me only. But since I'm speaking from the Trace Network Labs channel, so I won't be speaking from my own. And I completely agree. In fact, a couple of days ago, I tweeted that in Web3 right now, financial incentives are not as important as community, because if you have a strong community, then you can go through any other financial incentives because the community is that strong. And I think it's the same for NFT events as well. So let's move on to the next question. Since we've already talked about POAPs, Aditi elaborated on that. So let's elaborate a little more on it. In the NFT event space, is there something that POAPs, SBTs, any of these things can add? And what kind of, should we just go with NFTs? Should we go with POAPs, SBTs? And is there anyone who can also explain these? Maybe Parug, you can, if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. Uh, so I think I'll go with POAP first. So POAP is basically proof of attendance protocol, which is a protocol on Ethereum. Now people are building stuff similar to that on Solana as well and other ecosystems as well. It's basically you attend a digital event or maybe even a physical event, and it's basically you can go and redeem uh, an NFT, which is like an artwork. It's basically a social proof that okay, you were a part of this event, kind of like you get merch from IRL events, and like wristbands or something like that that you get from IRL events, but in a digital space. That is pretty interesting because again, community first, and people seem to love it. It's been a huge success, especially on Ethereum, and people are building it on other ecosystems as well. The other one, SBTs. I'm very bullish on SBTs. SBTs are basically soul-bound tokens. It's an NFT that belongs to just your wallet. So non NFTs, as we understand, are transferable. So if you have an NFT, you can send it to someone else. But SBTs are soul bound. So say soul is your wallet, so it's bound to your wallet. And if I send a SBT to say Poshak, he cannot transfer it to anyone else. So that is a very simple concept and took a long time to come alive, but it fundamentally changes how we transact in the digital world, because it's basically, this can be like your army badge, this can be your identity card, this can be your credit score, this can be your degree. So there's so much that can be done here with SBTs. Again, if you have say 4 stars on your SBT, you are eligible to come to this event. If you have this SBT and it has this characteristics, you can go to another event. You can gain access to other things. So SBTs are definitely kind of a long term application that will come into the picture. So yeah, I think that's basically an overview. I have another thing to share here, but yeah, I'll let the other people speak and then mention.
Go ahead, Parug, continue. So then we could continue that thread maybe.
Yeah, sure. So another thing with innovation with like non-fungible tokens is the XNFTs and backpack, which Solana and the Coral uh, folks are working on, Armani, Ferrante, and all these people. So they are basically building like an all-in-one wallet, or a kind of a wallet which will have your tokens, your NFTs, which like a normal wallet does as well, but also every other thing in the ecosystem that you use. So that can be your staked NFTs, uh, your stake tokens. It's basically not just a wallet, but everything. That is why it's called a backpack. So imagine like an app that can be built on the Solana phone, the Saga phone that is coming soon. So when you have that, when there's an application that can be used on a phone, on an Android phone, and it's like native and works just as Book My Show would, uh, that excites me in terms of like ticketing and events, because then it unlocks bus tickets, airplane tickets, movie tickets, and everything can be an NFT then. So yeah, that is something very exciting to me
Do
as
you
well.
think people would randomly just start buying these because, like, hoping that the value would go up? Like, even if I don't want to go to an airplane ticket, like, I just buy it because I hope someone will a month from now. Like, it could create a lot of problems as well.
Um, I was not actually thinking from a profitable standpoint. XNFTs are basically apps that can be built on the Solana phone, right? So if that is open source, and then Android phones can have, uh, you know, Web3 apps natively, which don't suck like like mobile wallets do right now. Uh, then you can have a Book My Show which has NFTs on it. Not Book My Show, but like an app which works exactly like a Book My Show. So again, goes back to the UX problem, which is solved here.
Right. I think it's a very interesting question to ask. Like, what kind of things is it okay to speculate on? Since NFTs, a lot of people buy because the value goes up. So I think event tickets, art. But then if something like a plane ticket or something becomes an NFT, that it becomes a little bit more. Uh, I don't know how to process that.
Oh yeah,
Tushar,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, like I just had this thought, like when Parug was talking about these XNFTs and a book my show kind of application to buy tickets in the form of NFTs. Uh, can't there be like a centralized NFT? I mean, like an NFT whose price is fixed and it won't fluctuate. It doesn't matter how much demand it arises, cause it's not on an open market on the first place. Like, I mean, there are already private blockchains, right, which corporate companies are using for internal uses. What if that system can be applied in these ticket booking, so the price won't fluctuate and people won't like just talk it? I mean, that can be a solution, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like just a thought.
Yeah, SBTs,
And
right?
yep. So I want to add one thing that what I personally think is we don't need to create all type of NFTs ticketing to make profit for the users, right? It doesn't need, right? For example, like for the example that SPT, right? So SPT is going to be used in like a medical certificate, right? So as a doctor can share the medical certificate in form of SPT tokens, right? And they can have it in record as a public on public ledger. Also they we can give them mark sheets, right? They can use that blockchain network, right? So as of now, that what we need to increase is the more blockchain and Web3 adoption, right? And but just don't need to make, we need to make sure that everything is not going to be done for the profit making money out of it, nor as an investment. We need to be use cases, right? The use cases of the SPT is to be like medical certificate or that, and the plane tickets and railway tickets can be done as in form of SPT token SPTs, right? Just because we can have a public records of how much we travel and the memories that we can create, like just like we yearbook we create, right? That's one use case has been done. And like what I usually in last 3 months I took around like 30-40 flights, and what I like I'm missing is that key is nothing has in my one in a record, right? I took this flight, sometime I took Indigo, sometime I took like SpaceJet, right? An Air Asia, something like that. So if I'm booking as an NFT or as a SPT, right, I can have all public record. Like I took this flight from this, and I can record as a like memory key. And now on, like what happening is that key, I to print out that ticket boarding pass, and I forget, and sometimes like loses this thing, right? Or maybe on my email record that I'd never check.
Right. It could be something amazing like a Spotify company shares every year the amount of songs you've listened to and the amount of listeners you've had, something like that, but for flights. That would be really cool to see. Tushar, go ahead. You want to add something?
Yeah, like just a different perspective on the table about like these soul bounded tokens. Yes, like these can be used in those certificates or those graduation thing or your identity and all. But I was talking to this one random person who had no idea about NFT world or Web3, and I was telling him that I was like basically explaining him that just imagine your graduation certificate or basically your degree. You will have that as an NFT, as an image, as a document in your mobile, and you can show it to anyone. You don't have to carry it all the time. Like how better it would be like if you go to a place and they ask for a degree, you just have to show them your mobile phone. Like you don't have to carry that whole degree in a file or folder. Like it would be better, right? Like I was telling him this thing, and he told him no. Like one thing which I noticed is that having that experience of carrying a degree in your hand, or certificates, or your identity cards, in itself is an experience which I think so people had already been addicted to. Like whenever someone of course forgets to carry their cards or identity proofs or certificates or whatnot, that's a different situation, but majority of the time you carry them and you are already addicted to it. Ki, okay, these are the cards which I have. If I have to show them, I will take it out of my pocket, I will show it to them, and then I will put it back to my pocket. Like this whole process, this whole experience is something which I believe will vanish if every single things would be like kind of these soul bounded tokens, which I don't think so a good amount of people will like. Like this was also a thought which I had because of this small banter which I had with one of my friends. So, like, any thoughts about that?
Right, makes sense, Tushar. Let's go to Aditi. Aditi, want to add something?
Yeah, as Tushar mentioned, like, how NFTs can basically replace, they can take up as our certificates and important documents. So this is actually a use case that we are gonna be seeing in the future of blockchain and NFTs. Like I basically wrote a bounty along with a friend of mine for Solana and Super Team DAO. In that, we basically explained how, let's say there's an international shipment to be taken place, a shipment of, let's say, fishes. So there are a lot of documents involved in that whole process, which actually elongates the whole process. Like you need to get some documents verified from the government of the city from which you are transferring, the harbor, the port or the harbor where you will be transferring, and a lot of official documents that need authorizations. And all of that process in the real world is definitely going to take a lot much time, and replacing all of those with NFTs and smart contracts and reeling them back to blockchain, that effectively reduces the time cost and increases the efficiency of the whole process. And that is definitely one of the future use case of NFTs that we are going to be seeing. That's it.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I can totally see that happening. I think Rudraksh has a question for our speakers. Rudraksh, go ahead.
Not a question. Actually, I was about to add it to Tushar's point, but Aditi made it very clear. So I'm again back to neutral. So yeah, carry on.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I think Aditi added your point. Paru, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting point to think about, but it's the same argument of physical books versus Kindle books. Now we have Balaji, releasing a book that is completely online. So I think it's a similar argument to that. Uh, I personally think obviously there's no one replacing physical documents. They're going to stay for a long time, but yeah, uh, as Aditi mentioned, there's so much to be solved that and SBTs and NFTs enable. So yeah.
Perfect.
So like it's also happening here right now as well, like that in like Gen Z is not mostly using and carrying that certificates, Paruk. I personally use that lazy government talk to all record my all government ID proofs, so it's going to be more in future as in NFTs and all that. So like argumenting like a physical book and Kindle book is just a damn shit, nothing else.
Perfect. I think this is a great segue to the events of tomorrow. We've discussed the events of today and what's going on in the space today. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to discuss what we can expect, the kind of events we can expect in the future with NFTs and all. And at Trace Network Labs, we are very passionate about Metaverse. We think one of the most difficult challenges is actually to be able to solve your digital identity in the Metaverse. And for that, we've created our own buddy avatar, which you can see, which actually looks exactly like you. So it'll take your picture and it'll create an avatar with your face on it. And you need to check that out, how cool it looks, even if you don't mint it, which is also quite affordable. And all of those things, we don't want it to be speculative, so it's very affordable for everybody. So when it has these kinds of features, then the next question is what kind of events or experiences can you do with your buddy avatar in the metaverse, or for any other metaverse as well, all the kinds of experiences and events that you could have in the metaverse. So my next question is related to that. How radically do you think uh, it would impact businesses and people if we start having more and more events in the metaverse? I think we already, COVID kind of pushed some of it in the Zoom meetings and all of it already. But do you think that happening more and more, and what do you think the impact of that will be? So let's go to Tushar for this, since he attends a lot of Twitter space. He's a pro at it. I think he'll be able to elaborate on that.
Uh, so hypothetically assuming after a decade or two or 5 or 10, every single person have access to metaverse. Every single person have avatars and whatnot, and every single person is living their life in this VR Oculus uh, world. I would say, if this scenario occurs, then I believe almost every single thing will happen in metaverse. Like, if we take the example of business, board meetings, working with your employees, cause I'm not sure, because a lot of people don't know, but you can use internet, you can use computers and every single thing in metaverse as you can do in physical world. Like, it is as simple as that. Of course, it takes like some amount of time to get used to it, but after a point of time, you will get used to it. And majority of the work is happening online, other than the labor work. I don't think so that is something which is replaceable, uh, at least till now. But if in future there will be this machine which is connected to your Oculus, and whatever you are doing in your Oculus is something which that machine is doing. Like, if that comes, then a good amount of labor or physical work might also be replaced, and every single person would be living their life in Oculus and Metaverse. Like, I mean, this is a hypothetical situation, but it is a possibility which can't be ignored. Right now, it's not possible due to a lot of issues. Like, I remember I had this one friend who was using Oculus for 24 hour plus. Like, he was recording some YouTube video, and after 24 hour, he was in a very bad situation. Like, he was not that great. He was having headaches and whatnot. So all these problems are still there. If these problems would be solved, then I believe the adaptation of these metaverse usage will increase more and more. The moment more people will go into metaverse, brands will come. If brands will come, money will come. If money will come, more people will come, more creators. So this cycle will just go on. I believe. This is one of the perspectives. Okay, but guys, it's about future, so it is just perspectives, nothing more.
Great, and I think it's a great perspective to have, Tushar. Thank you for adding that. I think your friend should not do anything for 24 hours, because if you do anything constantly for 24 hours, your head will ache. Just kidding. But that aside, I think Aditi has something to add to that. Aditi, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So, as Tushar said, this is all in the future. Like, we're just predicting possible use cases, right? But we also have some events happening in metaverse. Like, we hear of all of these concerts happening and exclusive entry through NFT holders and all of that. I'd like to add to that particular thing a very interesting event that I came across. So this was by Stanford University. It is a new graduate course called Virtual People that basically allows students to learn about wide ranging possibilities of virtual reality while being fully in a virtual environment. And it is basically called Virtual Human Interaction Labs, VHIL. And in that department of communication, like, students don't just try VR. Like, VR becomes the medium in which the course is taught, right? And to the best of my knowledge, nobody has networked hundreds of students via VR headsets for months at a time, at the same time, the history of virtual reality. And it is just VR at an incredible scale. Like right now, I just have these thoughts that I wish, along with work, college studies, I can also shop. I can also shop simultaneously, and possibly down the lane, in a few decades or something, a virtual avatar of mine would be doing that along with attending classes and work and all of that. So I guess this is where the direction is headed.
Awesome. I think now we've almost come to the end of it. Let's wrap up with another one or two questions. One of the things that at Trace we are very curious about is how do brands evolve in this metaverse using NFT access, tickets, all of that. So, would love to know your perspective. Let's go with Aditi for this. Aditi, would you like to start with that? How do you see brands evolving in the metaverse space using NFT access, tickets? You can already see Starbucks coming up with certain things. So, would love your opinion
Exactly,
on.
exactly. Yeah, and we also have, certain cafes in New York provide you entry only if you hold their exclusive NFTs or something. So stuff like that makes us basically NFTs and metaverse are going to be such a strategic move for all of the businesses and brands that we talk about. Let's say Gucci opening a showroom of itself in metaverse, and you can only buy stuff reeling back to their NFTs, and it can be a very new, tried and tested, profitable business revenue model for them. And as I mentioned in my the in the previous minutes of this talk of this space, that it all reels back to exclusivity. Like, if Gucci is offering you an NFT of something apart from what all the normal stuff that they offer, then that is going to stay with you for lifetime, because it reels back to blockchain. So this is what NFTs are going to be bringing for brands, I believe.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. Tushar, go ahead.
Yes, so like as you said, brands adapting NFTs. Like I remember, Lamborghini had launched their NFT. If Coca-Cola is there, Adidas is there, Louis Vuitton, Nike, Samsung, Pepsi, McD, Boeing. Like all these companies have announced that they are either dropping NFTs or they had already dropped NFTs. And like I think so. I had saw Adidas and Nike do this. What they launched like a special series of shoes and their NFTs, and whoever holds the NFT can only get the shoes. Like it is as exclusive as that. Same goes with I guess Lamborghini 360 car, and like so basically brands like the product based brands are connecting their products with NFTs, and then there comes this service based brand which I believe I'm not sure about any specific brand in service industry, but these service industry based brands might in future or currently use NFTs as service tokens. So I'm not sure like people remember, but in past whenever we used to shop at a place, they used to give us this card. Like in Japan, I guess it is still there. The more you buy from that shop, that card gets filled. It will get stamps and all. So I think so. Something like that might these service-based brands will bring that the more service you buy or get from that brand, you will get some specific NFTs according to the usage, like 10 times, 50 times, 100 times. And with that, you might get some discount on the future buys or services, maybe. Like these are the possibilities. So yes, just wanted to share that. I'm not sure about the Starbucks part because like I'm not in New York right now. Sad life.
Yeah, that's great. I think some kind of rewards or auctions make sense, both in the metaverse. Sure, Paru, go ahead.
Yeah, I think another interesting change that NFTs and the whole community centric kind of marketing with Bling is, change the way these brands think about communities and culture, because you see like a lot of these big brands, they've seen like NFTs are the cool thing right now, and a lot of them do are very very bad. Like especially the legacy companies like Adidas did with BAYC. A lot of them do a bad job as well because uh, they think that they can poach just use the name NFT and go in head first, and oftentimes it doesn't work. So I think, and you see this with like celebrities as well. But then you see some of these big names do very well. Like Snoop Dogg does NFTs very well. I mean, I don't want to divide the room, but Logan Paul does NFTs very well. Gary Vee has done NFTs very well, and brands as well. It's the same thing. I think that it'll change the process, like how these brands think about their communities, because NFTs are not something that you can just introduce in your company's culture, right? You have to bring along a, a community of people who believe in what you're releasing, in what you're doing, and then you can build from like a very bottom up approach. I think that will be very interesting to see who does it right.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, Paru. In a way, I see it as another medium of communication. Just like social media, there are some brands who do social media horribly, and some brands do it really well. And I think that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like it's always been the brand telling the community how to act, because they have the money and they have the advertising, and they control what the community will do. And now the tables have turned, and now the community decides what happens and how much money is raised, how does the NFT does, how well does it do. So yeah.
And since I'd like to add to that, since I handle the marketing at Trace and we look at a lot of community behavior, it's really interesting that in the social media world, brands were the ones who were pushing out content to their community in a one to many fashion. But now, since there are a lot of these niche communities for every small big brand, now there's a many to many sort of collaboration as well, one brand collaborating with other brand, and those communities interacting. So that is also a very good web3 sort of NFT communication that didn't exist before. So that's very fascinating. Tushar, go ahead.
Yeah, like just a small perspective on the thing which Parug said. Like Parug, if we take the example of these companies like Adidas or even Pepsi or Coca-Cola or whatnot or Nike, don't you think like these companies or brands already have a cult following or community which exists, which is a strong, dense community? So why do they have to focus on creating community on the first place? Because they know that they have a community which is on their side. Like when we talk about, when you used Logan Paul and before that you gave a disclaimer, you don't want to divide the room, but you know that the division is going to be there. Like there are these dense communities of these big brands or celebrities which is there. So how exactly is it changed on the first place? Like I just had this thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we've seen, these brands who and honestly, I thought would do well as well. I never thought that uh, NFTs from like big brands wouldn't do well. I think this is very interesting as well, because I think uh, where I don't know if you guys are aware about the Vasiverse and what Vasis are, but the founder of Vasiverse is like a metaverse in itself. And someone, I think Akshay BD on the Super Team podcast asked him like, "What's your perspective on Facebook becoming Meta now, and they probably have a metaverse of themselves?" And like Vasiverse is like this small, metaverse that is growing up, and Meta is like this huge company. So he made a similar point as well, that these companies don't get that people don't take NFTs the way they take like clothing lines or like shoe drops. Uh, it's I don't know, because NFTs are a direct way to raise finances. The community and focusing on how the culture is built is much more increased than having a shoe drop, because uh, just one influencer cannot affect how well the shoe will do or like the clothing line will do. But it's very interesting to see the ones who don't focus on that aspect uh, really don't do well. I can't pinpoint at the moment what the exact reason is, but yeah, that's the trend I've seen.
Super exciting. Thank you for that, Paruk. I think Govind had something to add to this. Hi, Govind. Would love to know what you want to ask a question, say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much. And when you write transforming event with NFT, so I just joined the space. So wanted to know like what kind of transformation are we talking about? Like in what aspects? And because I have been following NFTs for a while now, and we have created a community out of it. And if you also see the Dubai startup community we have also started, and that's purely based on metaverse and NFTs, and we are trying to create a community around there as well. So I'll put in my inputs. First of all, I would just want to see what transforming events with NFT means according to you.
Sure. So, personally, for Trace Network Labs, we have our own metaverse and we have our own avatars. It's called Buddy Avatars, and you can go and mint them, and through that, you can access our metaverse. And soon, we'll be doing a lot of events over there. So, that Buddy you get is actually a Web3 native NFT that you can store in your wallet, and then through that, you can access any kinds of events in the metaverse for Trace. But that's personally our vision. Other speakers shared their vision, whether it's in a real life event. So Tushar said he attended a real life event where the NFT was used as a ticket, but he said the communication has to be really strong because the UX is fragmented. And there was another speaker who I think just left because of some technical issue. CEO Saab, he added onto the fact that maybe there should be some kind of a hardware in the future where you could verify these NFTs very easily, and that would allow or enable a lot of people to access in real life events in a much better way. So those are the kind of things that we've discussed till now.
Yeah, all right. So I'll share my inputs here, and this is just a perspective of how I believe and what I think about NFTs. Been following the space for a while now. I've actively collected a lot of NFTs, been a part of them. I own like a few, like probably Huxley, that the movie is coming out, so I own the NFT of Huxley as well. And anyways, so straight to the point. So according to me, NFTs are a brilliant thing, but not for the things that people are talking about today. So I'll give you an example. What does NFT mean? It's a non-fungible token, right? So fungibility in a sense means you are very non-fungible, means you're unique in some sense. Like there's nothing similar to you, like exactly similar to you in the whole world or whole space. So that uniqueness when you own is an NFT. So I say that don't go to NFTs, but just go to the human existence first. We humans are non fungibles from the very core. The day we are born, there's nobody like us on planet Earth. So I consider that, because we have this, non fungible element about, ourselves, and we crave non fungibility. जैसे मैं अगर आप हिंदी समझते हो मैं आपको बोलूंगा कि आप करोड़ों में एक हो, you'll take it as a compliment. लेकिन अगर मैं आपको बोलूंगा आपके जैसे करोड़ों हैं तो आप बोलोगे यार ये तो बड़ा जनरलाइज से कर दिया, सो यू विल नॉट टेक इट एज अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट. So that is one part I want to add about NFTs.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Govin. I hope you stick around for the next 5 minutes. We're just ending the conversation.
I have a lot of things to add. I just got a bell, so I'll add in a few. Well, yeah.
Okay, sure, sure. Awesome. So we've come almost to the end. I think we'll ask this last question. Will NFTs become the primary way to access events both in real life and in the metaverse? And will Tushar's friend get to attend events without having an headache? I think that's the question we're debating in the end. So let's go with Paarug first and Aditi. Let's go with Aditi first. Aditi, what do you have to say to that?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a very very long journey to that point, because we are still educating the masses on the concepts that we are thinking of making, primary sources to for entry and all of that. It's still a long way, but I am pretty sure on it that there's gonna be a day where they are gonna be the primary sources, starting from some exclusive events and then going, to every general events, and the events that the even we are conducting in offline and IRL spaces as well. I am quite bullish on this thing. So yeah, I think there will be days, because security and authenticity, and as Govind was asking the question that like how are we are actually transforming the event with NFT. We are bringing we are bringing another layer of security that is like indestructible, because it reels back to blockchain. You cannot Third parties cannot sell fake tickets, and you cannot actually resell it to somebody else, because you already own that entity and it's registered. So all of these layers are going to be added, and they are going to be pretty valuable for IRL as well as online events. So yeah, there will be a day.
Great, great, awesome. I think Prajal is really excited knowing that he's your friend and you can actually meet in the metaverse as well. So next we have Paruk. Paruk, what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm I won't be so sure to say that they'll be the only way to to get tickets to events, because box office tickets still exist, so you can buy physical tickets still. So if that has stuck around, I'm pretty sure the obviously SBTs and NFTs will become a very very prominent part of our culture and how we transact. But yeah, I think it'd be a very valuable addition to what's already a good system, and it'll only improve it. So yeah, a very bullish, very very bullish on this.
And Tushar,
Hmm. Like I might be the only odd one out here. Never know. So yes, what I believe is that exclusive events are going to be NFT based for sure in the next couple of years only, like community based or exclusive events. But I don't think so. General events have a requirement to get or to add a second layer of security, according to me. What I personally believe, exclusive events and community based events are going to be NFT ticketed, or is there going to be a requirement of NFT? But general events, I don't think so. At least this is my perspective for now. We never know what's the future.
awesome. So with this, I think we do not have any more time left. We would have loved to take everyone's questions and opinions on it. But thank you so much to all of our speakers today, Aditi, Tushar, Paarug, CEO Saab. It was awesome, and especially to the people who brought up some questions, Govind, Rudraksh. This was an amazing time, and I got to learn so much. And the kind of innovations that are happening are just keeping me excited. So I hope I get to meet to all of you someday in an NFT event, whether it's in real life or if it's in Metaverse, then maybe Tushar's friend could also come along. So it'll be a great time talking to all of you and in the Metaverse. And if not, we do this every week. And so join us over here Friday 8:30 p.m. Would love to interact with a new topic around Metaverse and NFTs. Thank you so much. My name is Poshak and bye bye from Trace Network Labs. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye bye. Take care.